So he felt very much compelled to give her this book. She is also a long-time Hare Krishna member, a devotee, so she knows all about the philosophy, etc. She's practicing Krishna consciousness for many years. And she said, I don't need a Gita, I've got 3 Gitas already. Why are you giving me this? And he said, I don't know, I just felt compelled to give you this Bhagavad Gita, so something besides, so, just take it. She's like, really? I don't need another Gita, I've got plenty, thank you very much. And he's like, yeah, but anyway, I just felt compelled somehow, just take it, you can read it or give it to a friend or something. She went, oh, well, all right then, I'll take it, thanks very much. And she took it. And then the day after, she came and she knocked on his door and she said, have you got any more of those Gitas? And she said, I need another one because I gave that one away. And so I need another one now. So he gave her another one. And then the next day she came back. She was even more excited. She said, hey, give me 2 more of those Bhagavad Gitas. Can you get me 2 more? I'll give you some money for it. I'll pay you for them. And so he gave her 2 more. She was really excited because she was giving these Gitas away to all of her friends. So she was really enjoying it. And therefore, we say, book distribution is fun and easy. Yes. So, today actually, me and my friend Virabhadra Prabhu, one of the other brahmacharis who lives here, we were going on a japa walk. Oh, I'll show you. We were going on a japa walk in Regent's Park, and we were chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And I saw this lady with some dogs, and I was thinking, oh, we're supposed to be nice to people and their dogs, and not go, your dog's so unclean, so muddy. And so I was going to go up to her and say, oh, such lovely dogs, and I like the way that they've got that cover on them, it must keep them very warm. And she came up, and immediately she saw me, she put her hand in her pocket, she gave me a donation. And I said, oh, thanks, what's this one? She said, well, I saw you were collecting. I saw the collection. I thought, So she gave us a donation, and luckily I remembered to keep a book in my pocket. So I pulled out a chant to be happy, and I said, oh, thank you very much. It's Christmas time, and every year at Christmas we always give a present to everyone who makes a donation, so this is for you. And at first she was like, oh, no, it's all right. You just keep your donation, I don't mind. And then I said, no, do you know George Harrison? And she said, oh yeah, that country house, right? That country house you have, I went there. And she said, yeah, and somehow she went there by mistake. There's like a pub. There's a pub just a few fields down the road. And somehow by mistake she went into the manor and with her dogs, and she said, but it was very nice, and they were very friendly to me, and usually it's not always that people are very welcoming, especially if you've got dogs. So she was very happy, and then she took the book, and therefore the title of this lecture is Book Distribution is Fun and Easy. Yes. So, oh yeah, and also yesterday, me and again Virabhadra Prabhu, we went with some of our devotees here from this community to Sutton. We have an event that we call Weekend Warriors. So every weekend, or most weekends, we go to a few towns around London, and we'll set up a table, and we'll get permission from the council, get a space reserved, and we'll set up a table with lots of books on, and we'll have some nice prasadam, some nice cookies or sweets there, or lollipops for kids to take. And we'll set up a rug and start doing some bhajans, some chanting, like the chanting we just did. We'll start chanting. And what's interesting is whenever we start chanting and the chanting gets, becomes really sweet, then so many more people come to the table. It's a winning formula. And then many more people buy books. So we were chanting, and in Sutton, and then on the way back, we got back from Victoria Station. We got back and we went into Oxford Circus, and then we thought we'd walk back to the temple from there. And so we thought, hey, let's check out how Sunda Nitai and Bhakti Alexei and Bhakti Lawrence are doing, because they were distributing books at Oxford Circus. And if you've been following the book distribution marathon that we're having at the moment, you'll know that these are the top 3 in the list for amount of books distributed so far for the month of December, and they're really on fire. We went to meet them, and it was quite amazing. First we went to Alexei, and as soon as he saw us, he went, "Oh Prabhu's Nitai Gora Haribol!" And he grabbed hold of us. We were jumping up and down. So then we saw Sunda Nitai, so all 3 of us ran over to him and grabbed him, and we went, "Nitai Gora Haribol!" And we were jumping up and down. And Sunda Nitai had this look in his eye like, what's happening? It was obvious he was in another world altogether. And I was speaking to him, and I was saying, isn't it amazing that so many people that they came to Oxford Street today because it's closed off, and they were thinking, yes, today I'm gonna get, whatever, the latest DVD or that pair of jeans, or this thing, that thing, and I'm gonna give it to Uncle Bob, or my girlfriend, or whatever. And they had all these plans ahead. And I said, but none of them were planning to come and think, I think I'm going to come and get Bhagavad Gita today. and he went, no. He said, no. Loads of people have been coming up and saying, oh, do you have a Bhagavad Gita? I was looking for a Bhagavad Gita. And just as he said that, someone came up and said, excuse me, do you have a Bhagavad Gita? It's amazing. So, therefore we said, book distribution is fun and easy. And as we were walking away, me and Virabhadraprabhu, we were just, like we were saying, meeting them, we see them every day upstairs in the ashram, but when we met them at that time, it was like we were meeting people from a higher planet. It was there was something special about them. It was very interesting. So, why do we distribute these books? Firstly, why do we accept these books? Why do we put our faith in these books? We are saying in this Krishna consciousness movement that this book is called Bhagavad Gita, which means the Song of God. So, aside from that, we also say that this Song of God teaches you everything about how this universe works, how the body works, how the body and the soul interact, how to get the most out of life, how to avoid the dangers in life, and what is even the purpose of our life. What are we meant to use our life for? And so someone might say, well, do I need a book to tell me that? And has the book got it right? How do I know that it's, how do I know that it's what the book's saying is true? Especially if it says something like, there's another world and it looks like this, and it's like, well, how do we know there's another world? How can you prove these things, etc., etc. Okay, so let's just go over a few of those things. Has anyone seen that picture by, I think it's not picture, painting, I think it's by Leonardo da Vinci, called Sunflowers? Anyone, raise hands if you've seen the famous sunflower picture. Van Gogh. See how cultured I am. By Van Gogh, thank you very much. So, has anyone seen the sunflowers picture by Van Gogh? Okay. So, people may say, apparently this is like, one of the classic paintings of all time. And if it were to be sold, I don't think it's kind of like priceless, it's like you can't sort of sell it, but they'll put a value on it, and the value will be so many million or maybe even more, maybe a few billion or something. So, super expensive. And art critics will say, oh, it's so wonderful in this way, and the way he painted it, and the way he captured the light in this way, and the way he used this technique of shading. And they'll say so many things in praise of this picture. But what about the original sunflowers? How amazing are they? The the way that the colour of the petals and the way that the stem is shaped and the way it just kind of, hooks over at the top and the way that they sway in the breeze and that they grow in like huge fields and it creates this amazingly shining landscape of gold and colour. What about that work of art? And an art critic may say, Van Gogh, he spent such and such many hours on this painting, and maybe they'll say he painted it at a certain point in his painting career after he'd become a certain stage of master like this, and he took so much time and painstaking effort to really make it a masterpiece. So then, how can we say that the original sunflower, that it just came about by chance, right? Just sunflowers, they're just there, aren't they? No one put any thought behind them. No one ever, decided how they would look or, decided how they were going to smell. No, they're just a bunch of chemicals kind of came together after a few million years, and you got sunflowers. So doesn't make sense. Or modern day cameras. Now they've got lots of features. What are some of the features of a modern day camera? Let's ask our cameraman. What are the modern day features of a camera? Told to go Math.
Image stabilization.
Huh?
Image stabilization.
Image stabilization. Okay, image stabilization. You can video with a modern camera.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Continuous autofocus.
Continuous what?
Autofocus.
Autofocus. I'm not a cameraman, by the way. Don't know if you could tell.
We're figuring it out.
So yeah, but what about the eye? What about the eye? Such an amazing piece of machinery. And again, we spent so many years developing cameras from the old, like the bulb that flashes and then you pull it out and stick a new one in, and these boxes about this big that you carry around like that, and you put the blanket over your head and you put some gunpowder in there. And it took so many years of intelligent engineers who'd studied this, that and the other, and they came up with these fantastic digital cameras that now we all hold. But, the eye, that, no one put any thought behind that. It's just kind of, it's just chance, isn't it? Just a load of chemicals come together a few million years, you got an eye. So it doesn't make any sense. Once, two scientists were having a debate. One was saying that the universe came about by chance, and another one was saying that it was designed by someone with intelligence. And so they were having this debate, and then, then they went their separate ways. And then a few days later, then the scientist who was, debating that the universe just came about by chance, came again to visit the other scientist, and he saw that there was a model there, a model of the solar system. And it was working, there was everything was going in orbit. You had Pluto going around really slow, and then you had the sun in the middle, and Earth somewhere there, and the moon was going around the Earth, and it was really amazing model, all by clockwork, all circling around. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Who made that? Well, did you make it? And he said, no one made it. He said, what? No one made it? He said, no one made it. So, look, stop messing around. You made it, didn't you? No one made it. So, all right, look, if you're not going to say you made it, at least tell me, what you made it for. He said, well, I didn't make it for anything. Come on, it must have a purpose. It must have a purpose. No, there's no purpose. And he's like, now you're just being silly. And he said, oh, really? Oh, I'm just being silly, am I? You the other day told me that this massive universe was made by no one and has no purpose, but now I'm just trying to convince you that this tiny little, little model of the same universe was made by no one and has no purpose, and you won't believe me. So you see, he stumped him. Everything basically is made by intelligent design. Can we all agree that at least it's reasonable to accept the possibility that this universe was designed by someone with intelligence? If you agree, say, Haribol! Haribol! Oh, good, okay. So, if we accept that there's a creator, then isn't it also reasonable to expect that he gave a manual to go with it, some instructions, how the universe is working, how to get the most out of it. Just like if someone manufactures a hi-fi, anytime anyone manufactures a hi-fi, or anything, basically, a microphone, or MP3 player, whatever, a TV, anything, then they'll always send a manual with that. And what's the purpose of that manual? It's to tell you how to get the best use out of the product that you bought, how to get the most enjoyment and know how to use all the features, and also how to avoid any damage to that product as well. You know, don't put it too near a radiator, or you know, this thing, that thing. Don't stick it in the bath, or anything like that. So, in the same way, this universe, or this material creation, it's an infinitely more amazing or complicated or intricate machine. And so the engineer of this machine has given us instructions, an instruction manual, how to use this machine, what is the purpose of this machine, what it is meant to be used for, how to get the best out of it, how to get the best use out of it, and also how not to damage it. In the same way, our bodies are also another highly sophisticated piece of engineering that have been engineered by the supreme engineer, the supreme designer. To give you an example, I heard that in our body there's, I don't know, billions or millions and billions of cells, and each cell, one scientist explained, is more complicated in its structure and in its workings than the entire infrastructure of the City of London. Because someone was telling me that in one cell, of which there are millions in our body, in one cell you have all kinds of different things going on. You have like roads, and you have little things that are going down the roads, and then you have crossroads, and then you know, one thing will be coming this way, and then another will come this way, and one will stop and let one go ahead, and then the other one will go, and the little things are carrying things from different places, and there's little gates that open, and you know, basically to, you know, make the body, you know, repair itself and rebuild itself, and this, that, and the other. And all this is going on in the cell, and there's billions of cells in our body. So even Darwin said, if the body is any more complicated then I have found it to be at my stage of research, then my whole theory is a failure. And then they discovered all this about the cell that they didn't know before. So there we go. Darwin's admitting that his theory is a failure. And so this body is also a highly wonderful creation by the Supreme Creator. And so in the manual that he's also given us instructions how to use our body, and what he invented our body for in the first place. Because every time someone invents something, there's a reason why there's a need to be fulfilled. So therefore they give you the equipment to fulfill that need. So in this Bhagavad Gita, it tells you how you can get the best use out of your body. It tells you how you can avoid damaging your body. It tells you the difference between you and your body. It tells you so many things, but ultimately they can all be explained to be information for the purpose of bringing us to complete satisfaction in our life and getting the most out of our lives. That's what Bhagavad Gita is for. It's the guidebook to life, basically. And how do we know? How do we know that this is the guidebook to life? There's so many guidebooks, right? There's so many self-help gurus. There's so many ancient religious books. So there's a lot to choose from. And which one is right? Well, basically, we say you just try this Bhagavad Gita out. You try and follow the teachings in Bhagavad Gita and see what happens. It's an experiment. You become a scientist. And I have become a little bit of a scientist, and I've tried out these teachings in Bhagavad Gita, and I found that the process works, that what it says in the book actually happens. I'll give you an example. In one of the sections in one of our other books called Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada explains, this is a quote, "Simply by hearing about pure devotional service to Krishna, a conditioned soul can easily free himself from all types of fear." So, to summarize that, when you read these books, just by reading these books, just by hearing what's being spoken in these books, you can become free from fear, free from anxiety. Or you know that feeling when, sometimes you're not even conscious how much kind of stress and tension and anxiety is kind of there in your head, because it's always there. So you become a bit kind of immune to kind of noticing it. But then sometimes, I don't know, you're put in a situation where you end up being relaxed, and then you're like, "Tush, oh my goodness, wow, I forgot what it was like to relax." Sometimes when I do, sometimes I go to universities and I do music meditation, and it's like that. They'll go into the meditation, and then they'll just kind of go, and they'll be like, "Wow, my God, I'm relaxed. This is my normal state. This is what I'm supposed to be like." Yeah. So when we hear transcendental sound, this is one of the effects, that it takes away anxiety, it takes away fear. We become fearless just by hearing from these books. Almost every time I read Srimad Bhagavatam, by the end of the reading session, I feel like everything is fine, nothing's going wrong, everything is okay, and I can be happy and successful in my life. My life means in practicing Krishna consciousness. So I get that freedom just by reading. You see? So this is just one example of how the process works, and how I'm experiencing what I'm reading in the books is actually happening. Even Gandhi said the same thing. Actually, there's a quote on the back here. This is Gandhi. He says, "When doubts haunt me, when disappointments stare me in the face, and I see not one ray of hope on the horizon, I turn to the Bhagavad Gita and find a verse to comfort me, and I immediately begin to smile in the midst of overwhelming sorrow." So that's a good promise. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you'll be able to smile in overwhelming sorrow. And even if you're not familiar with Gita, at the beginning there's in this one we put a little section in called Answers from Bhagavad Gita. So there's different topics there, so you can immediately find a topic that's relevant to you, and then it will give you the reference for which page that topic is discussed. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Dukkhalayam ashashvatam," that this place is a world of it's a temporary world, and it's full of misery. That's what it means. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This world is temporary and full of misery. So Krishna, the person who designed this world, is telling us, look, this place is miserable. And he should know. He designed it, right? So he should know how it works. Not on purpose that he did, not that on purpose he designed it that way. We had a desire to try and enjoy separately from God, and this world was created to facilitate that desire. But he created it to facilitate that desire. So he knows this place is a place of suffering. Because our natural position is to serve Krishna, because we are all part and parcel of Krishna. Just like the natural position of the hand is to serve the body. When you separate the hand from the body, the hand can't enjoy anymore. So in the same way, when we're separated from Krishna, we become dissatisfied. So Srila Prabhupada, I just wanted to read something out from one of his purports to Srimad Bhagavatam, which is... Here, actually, this is part 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And if this isn't enough for you, there's another 18 volumes in there, if you want to finish the whole book. So, he says, by the way, Srila Prabhupada is the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, and he translated and commented upon all the verses in these books. So, in one such commentary he says, unless one comes to devotional service, one cannot be delivered from the miseries of the material world, where the living beings struggle for existence. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Mama evancha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashastan niyandriyani prakriti stani karshati, which means the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Because of conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with these six senses, which include the mind. So Krishna explains in this Bhagavad Gita that every one of us will struggle through life. But in the same Bhagavad Gita, he gives the alternative also. Srila Prabhupada explains, the living entities are struggling to become what? What are we struggling to become? What is our struggle to achieve? What are we trying to achieve? Happiness, yes. They're struggling to become happy. But unless they take to the bhakti cult, we're a cult by the way, devotional service to Krishna, their happiness is not possible. And they continue to travel in the painful cycle of birth and death in this material world. Actually, I was looking for a particular quote where Srila Prabhupada, I'll just read this first and then I'll say. So he continues, foolish persons do not know how risky life is here. If one does not follow the instructions of Krishna. I'll read that again. Foolish persons do not know how risky life is here if one does not follow the instructions of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, has been started so that by practicing Krishna consciousness, by reading Bhagavad Gita, and by putting into practice its knowledge, one can avoid the risky life of this material existence. Then he says, there is no question of accepting or not accepting Krishna consciousness. It is not optional. Hear that? It is compulsory. If we do not take to Krishna consciousness, so he explains why it's compulsory. If we do not take to Krishna consciousness, our life is very risky. And in fact, in one lecture, I think it was in Vrindavan, I remember listening to it, Prabhupada said, you cannot say, oh, I may take to Krishna consciousness, or I may not take to Krishna consciousness. No, you must take to Krishna consciousness. He said, you must take to Krishna consciousness. And then he said, or you will suffer. So this is the point. I mean, of course, we always have a choice. But the choice is we can be happy in Krishna consciousness, or we can battle it out with the material world and, try and win her over. But we'll suffer, we'll struggle. So everything is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Oh, Srila Prabhupada speaking here still. Therefore, to learn how to become free from the miserable condition of material existence, Bhagavad Gita as it is the preliminary study. Then, if one understands Bhagavad Gita, one can proceed to Srimad Bhagavatam. And if one advances further, one may study Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's also, if you want to see, it's just down here. You can buy the whole set. We are therefore presenting these invaluable books to the whole world so that people may study them and be happy, being delivered from the miserable condition of life. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yay. So, just a few quick Sankirtan stories from my own, mainly from my own experience. One time I was on the street, in Neil Street, distributing books, and one young guy came up to me, and I stopped him, and he said, no, I can't stop, I'm in a rush. I said, no, stop, please. And he said, no, I've got a job interview. And I said, look, if you buy this book, I guarantee you will get the job. And so he said, okay, okay. And so he bought the book. And then I forgot all about it, but a few days later he came back and he said, hey, thank you so much. It's amazing, I got the job. You said if I buy the book, I'll get the job, and I got it. Now it's Srimad Bhagavatam. And then there was another time I was in Kingston. And we'd started, it was, I don't know who started it, but maybe Tarun Krishna Prabhu, one of the brahmacharis who used to live here, who's now living in the farm in Hungary. We started trying to see, kind of listen out to see if Super Soul was prompting us with anything that could help us distribute books. And Tarun Krishna Prabhu, he said that sometimes Super Soul would inspire him with the name of the person before they told it. So like one time he was in Guildford and he this I think it was like a big tall black guy, or like a big strong guy, you know, and he was like really, you know, kind of expensive jacket, and he was kind of, you know, he thought I'm cool, and you know, I can look after myself. And so Tarun tried to stop him, and he was like, nah, it's all right, mate. Then he walked down the street, and then I can't remember the exact name, but you know, something like Tarun called out, "Hey, Dennis, just wait 1 second." And the guy stopped, turned round. "How did you know my name?" And then he bought the book. And another time I was in Stockport. No. I was in Guildford. No, I wasn't. I was in Kingston. And I'll say Stockport, you'll understand why in a minute. I was in Kingston, and this young guy, I tried to stop him. And because I thought, anyway, you know, book distribution is what? It's fun and easy. So I thought book distribution is fun and easy. So let's have some fun. Let's see if Super Soul wants to have some fun. So I stopped one boy and I said, "Stop! You are from Stockport." And he went, "How do you?" Because raise your hands if you've ever heard of Stockport. Oh, really? Where are you from?
My dad's from Stockport.
No! Just see. Okay, so what's your name? Melanie. So me and Melanie know Stockport. It's near Manchester, small town outside Manchester. Small but very nice town. And so he said, "How do you know I'm from Stockport?" And I said, "Well, you know, if you read this book, then you'll find out a bit more about how I know you're from Stockport." So then he bought the book. And not only did he buy the book, but later on in the day, I don't know, an hour or something later, I was selling a book to another person, and right in the middle of the exchange, he comes up and he says, "Look, you've got to buy this book off this person. He told me where I was from, and I didn't even tell him. He's a special person." So Krishna helps. When we want to tell someone else about Krishna, he'll help. He'll give us the intelligence how to sell a book to someone, how to present the book so that it will appeal to them. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Teshanam panchatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te." To those who are dedicated to serving me with priti, with love, with affection, I give the intelligence. Dadami buddhi. I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. So he's saying, if you want to serve me, I will help you to serve me. And Krishna helps. And Krishna's a little cowherd boy. He likes to play. And book distribution is fun and easy. Yes. So, also, in my experience, the best kirtans that I've experienced come from book distribution. There's so many examples. Kirtan means, for those of you who may not know, it means when we come together and we sing Hare Krishna together. Either we'll be sat down like we were at the beginning of the class, or we'll be dancing. So the best ones I've experienced in my Krishna consciousness have come from book distribution. One time it was a marathon like we're having now, and I was distributing books in Kingston, and I was thinking, hey, this is a marathon, I should be going out of my comfort zone, I should be going the extra mile, I should do something, a little bit extra. So I'm going to do books on the train on the way back. which for me was like, no way, that's my time when I sit down, I open the book and I read to my heart's content and no one's going to bother me. So that was my time, for enjoyment. You know, like when you come home from work and you flick on the TV and it's like, right, me and the TV now and I'm just going to veg. So that was on the train. I used to do that because I'd be like, oh, I'm so tired. So I'd love to do that. And so to give that up was like, oh, I really had to preach to myself. It was like, no, I don't want to do it. You got to do it. It's a marathon. No, do it. So in the end, I decided I was going to try and go down the train and just sit next to people and sell them a book and see what happened. So I did that, made that little sacrifice, got out of my comfort zone and convinced the other guy who was with me that he should do the same thing. Kind of, you know, bullied him into it. He didn't want to do it either. And I remember at the end of it, I sold, you know, 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 books, and we came to Waterloo, and then we got the tube to Tottenham Court Road tube station. And as I was coming out of Tottenham Court Road tube station and walking down here, I had one of the most amazing and profound experiences of my entire Krishna conscious life so far. Because what happens is that when we give a book to someone, then Krishna, he comes to this world to get all his friends back. We're all Krishna's friends, each and every one of us. But we've kind of, you know, gone away somewhere. We've decided, Krishna nice, but I want to try something else. And we try and enjoy separate from Krishna. So we come to this material world and we forget Krishna and we forget all about, you know, our relationship with Krishna, and we try and get into enjoyment in this material world. And in the meantime, Krishna's missing us. And not only that, but he knows that we can't be happy in that way. He knows that it's just not, we don't work that way. That's not what we are. We're just servants of Krishna. We're servants of God, and that's just the way we are. And so because that's the way we are, that's how we feel content. When we're serving Krishna, when we're serving God, we feel happy. We feel okay. We feel satisfied. Just like if you have a concert pianist, and then, you know, for a few days he's without his piano. He's, you know, what's he going? He's not in his element. He's at a loose end. He's not content because, you know, he's not with his piano. So in the same way, we're just servants of Krishna, that's what we are. So when we're not serving Krishna, we just don't feel right. And therefore we look for so many ways to enjoy. We look for a hobby, or we go down the pub, or we go to a restaurant, or we go to a movie, or we get into a relationship, or we join a welfare society or something, just to find some happiness, because we're not content. So Krishna wants us all back, and he's trying to get us back. But he doesn't want to control us. He doesn't want to force us to do anything, because then there's no love. Love can't be forced, but he wants us back. So when someone tries to help someone else to remember, hey, you know, you remember Krishna? And give them some information about Krishna, then Krishna gets really excited. He gets really happy. Really, really happy. If you want to touch Krishna's soft spot, tell someone about Krishna. Give someone a book about Krishna. Give someone Bhagavad Gita. Then you'll really make Krishna happy. And because we are part and parcel of Krishna, that means if Krishna's happy, then we are happy. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Exactly. So this is what happened. I was coming out of the tube station and I was walking back, and because I'd made that little, you know, little step, you know, little extra step, I was floating. I was like so elated, and all of a sudden it was like something you read about when, for those of you who know, like when Lord Chaitanya's on the planet, we read about when he'd go and embrace people, they'd just start chanting, and then Muslim soldiers would see them chanting and they'd start chanting, and they'd go to the you know, the general Muslim, and they'd say, we're not chanting, it's just our mouths, and we're not doing anything. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's not us. So that's what happened. I was walking down the street, I just started going, Gauranga! Gauranga! And it wasn't me. It was just like, it was just happening. And I was so blissful. It was very nice. So, really, the best kirtans, they do come from being involved in book distribution, or from being with people who are involved in book distribution. And then there was this one time I was on Bond Street, and this is just to show how faith is very important, essential actually. One time I was with Subal, my old friend Subal, and we were on Bond Street and nothing was happening, and we were really struggling. And Bond Street, you know, it's the kind of place a lot of kind of well-off people go there, and they kind of have this way sometimes. They can kind of, you know, without doing it, you know, they're kind of looking down at you, and you just can't touch them. Like, I don't need you, and I don't need your book, and I feel sorry for you, you know, but I'm not going to give you a donation. And then you're like, you know, no one will stop. But I was determined not to get, like, you know, I was on like a super positive, like mind-fixed program, and I was like, no, we are going to do okay today. We are going to be successful. This is Lord Chaitanya's movement. We are going to distribute books today. It's going to happen. And Subal was like, oh, it's not happening. And I was like, don't say that. It's going to happen. And he said, look, let's go somewhere else. And I went, all right, let's go somewhere else. But it's going to happen. And just watch. I tell you, something special is going to happen. And I was just saying these things. I didn't know. But then, because I had this mood, and we went to Neal Street, and I went to Covent Garden Tube Station, and I was running around all over the street trying to stop people and getting nowhere. And then this one guy, I remember one black guy with his girlfriend, and he was like really smartly dressed and very kind of like, he walked with a bit of a bounce, and he was really, he was happy. And I was like, what's that, mate? And I said, wait, he was walking off, so, what do you want? Oh, it's just books, or you can give a donation. Do you want a donation? He said, all right, come here. And I ran after him, and he reached in this big leather satchel. Obviously, it looked very expensive. And he just reached, and he pulled out a wad of notes. He goes, here, mate, take that. And I was like, wow, thanks so much, thanks. And I was like, wait, no, it's all right. And then he, at least take a flyer. And I managed to get him to take a flyer. He was like, all right, I'll take a flyer. And then he walked off, nice and happy. And then I thought, wow, I must have given like 40 quid or something. And I looked down, and it was £80. And I was like, amazing. So I spent the rest of the day giving out books to everyone I could. As many as possible. It was very blissful. So this faith, if we have faith that Krishna will help us in our endeavour to serve him and please him, then he will. He'll reciprocate with that. Because what we're doing when we have faith, we're trusting Krishna. I trust that Krishna will help me. And when you show trust in someone, it's natural, isn't it, that person, they feel, he trusts me. I should show him that I won't let him down. So this is another way that Krishna helps us out on book distribution. Okay, I'll stop there because we have a few announcements. But thank you very much for listening to my talk. And please remember, don't forget, book distribution is fun and easy. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.